Okay.
That's America!
Kirsten said happily. She stood at the ship's railing with her friend Marta and pointed to the green strip of land beyond the waves. Overhead, the tall sails creaked in the wind. Marta shaded her eyes and pressed against the railing as though that would make the Eagle sail faster.
I can't wait to walk on land again,
she said, and shivered. Kirsten touched her friend's arm.
Are you cold?
She asked.
Let's go sit where the wind isn't so strong.
She tucked her rag doll, Sorry, into her shawl and walked to a coil of rope that was as high as a barrel. Then she hitched up her skirt and climbed into a space just big enough for two girls to sit knee to knee and forehead to forehead. Marta crawled in after her. It was warmer here in the coiled rope, but the wind still whistled overhead. Kirsten took her handkerchief from her pocket and made a cape for Sorry. Marta's doll wore her apron like a shawl.
Soon we'll be there. Soon we'll be on land again.
Marta told her doll.
Don't worry. Don't worry about the wind.
Kirsten pulled a piece of hard, dried bread from her apron pocket and broke it in two. She and Marta fed their dolls before they chewed the bread themselves.
What's the very first thing you want to do in America?
Kirsten asked.
I want to pick an apple.
Marta said dreamily.
There are apples everywhere in America. Apples?
When Kirsten said the word, she could almost taste the crisp, delicious fruit.
We'll pick cherries too.
She said.
And we'll get fresh bread.
Marta added.
I think we'll be there by tonight, don't you? Not if we get another storm.
Kirsten answered. She peered up at the darkening clouds and pulled her shawl more closely around her shoulders. Above her head, she saw the sailors crawling into the rigging to adjust the sails. Then she heard Papa's voice. Kirsten, where are you? He called.
Here I am, Papa.
Strands of blonde hair pulled loose from her braids and whipped across her cheeks when she raised her head above the ropes. Papa's black wool jacket flapped like a gull's wings as he crossed the deck. There's a storm coming, Papa said. It could be dangerous. The coast is rocky here, and the wind is getting stronger. Papa lifted Kirsten out of the coiled rope. Then he pulled Marta out too. Come below where we will be safe, he said. The clouds rolled like water boiling in Mama's black iron pot. The tops of the waves turned white and crashed over the sides of the ship. They dashed into Kirsten's boots as she scrambled toward the opening into the hold. Hurry, Papa said. He held tightly to Kirsten and Marta's hands. As Kirsten climbed down the ladder into the hold, her spirits sank. Of course she didn't want to be washed overboard by the waves, but it was awful to stay in this small room below the deck. For more than 2 months, 20 Swedish families had been cramped together here. Each family shared 1 or 2 of the bunks that lined the walls, and everything they owned was stored in large trunks, which stood at the ends of the bunks. The air smelled sour now, and it'd be worse when people got seasick. Ew! No fresh air could come in when the sailors locked the trap door against the waves. And the hold was dark, even in the middle of the afternoon. Just one oil lantern swung and sputtered over some tables in the middle of the room. Kirsten could barely see Mama, who was lying on her side in the narrow bunk she shared with Kirsten. Here you are, Mama said as Kirsten crawled up beside her. I asked Papa to find you. I don't know where you can hide on such a small ship.
Martha and I were playing. We could see land before the storm blew up,
Kirsten said. Mama sighed. I prayed there would be no more storms so I could be strong when we land in America, she said. She had been sick the first day they came aboard the ship, and storms made her feel worse.
You'll be strong soon. I'm sure of it. Don't lose heart, Mama.
said Kirsten. But now the wind howled like a pack of wolves. The waves beat against the ship's hull next to Kirsten's head, and the ship tossed as though it might tip over. Outside, there was a loud crash. Boom! Mama put her arm over Kirsten's shoulder. Don't fall off the bunk, she warned. Buckets tumbled over one another, and old Mr. Peterson's trunk skidded across the wet floor. The lantern swung wildly, then dropped beneath a table.
Mama, Lars says the coast is full of rocks. Do you think we'll be blown into them?
Kirsten asked. She could barely hear her words above the roar of the storm. Whoosh! Don't think about the rocks, Mama said. Let's think about Uncle Olaf's letter instead. Do you remember your Uncle Olaf? Kirsten had heard about Uncle Olaf so many times, she thought she remembered him.
Tell me,
She said. She snuggled close to Mama and tried not to think about the howling storm. Olaf left Sweden 6 years ago when you were just 3 years old, Mama said. He thought he could make a better life in America, and last year he wrote to tell us about his new farm. The land is rich and good there, and he needs our help.
in Minnesota?
Kirsten said, stumbling over the strange word. Yes, in Minnesota, Mama answered. Now, you tell me something.
Uncle Olaf married Aunt Ingar in America, right?
Yes, that's right. She thought Aunt Inger was the best part of the story.
Aunt Ingar came from Sweden, too.
That's right, said Mama. Olaf said he married a widow with 2 daughters.
My cousins. Elizabeth. My cousins Anna and Elizabeth. We'll be friends, don't you think?
Of course, said Mama. We'll live on the same farm. And they'll be right next door. Oh, no. The waves still pounded against the ship. Whoosh, whoosh. In the dark hold, Kirsten hugged Sari's rag body and whispered,
We're almost there. We're almost home.
She tried to imagine a farm right next door to her new cousins. She hoped this American home would be just like the one she left in Sweden, with the maple tree by the door.